Welcome everyone to today's video. This is your host, Davis Bickford. I have a very, very special guest today whose new book, The Vanity Factor, Beauty Inside and Out, a guide to aesthetic surgery from A to Z, released recently and is sending shockwaves through the beauty and cosmetic surgery industry. I'm very pleased to introduce her. She's an author, educator, world traveler, and dear friend of mine, probably most importantly, a true dear friend of mine, Miss Sherri Andrews. Welcome. How are you?
Thank you, Davis. Thank you for having me today. I'm so honored to be interviewed by you, my dear friend, and cover designer sometimes.
That is true. I did design your first book, Narcissist, but
That's
we're here
true.
to talk about the Vanity Factor, your life, and you're inspiring so many people with your journey, which is it's truly extraordinary. I'm so happy that you've released this book. I've been reading it. I'm enjoying it. It's excellent, and I really can't speak highly enough about it. But tell the audience what's it truly about, and what made you want to write about this book.
Well, since I've been sailing all my life, and since about 27, I've been in tropical environments. I currently am sailing on a catamaran in the Med. And, it just was time at 62 to do a little repair work. And so, by education, I'm a journalist, and I decided I research everything, everything.
Yeah.
So I decided that I wanted to make the best decision because, you don't take surgery lightly. And so I researched, different alternatives, and I'd heard a lot about medical tourism in the big 7 countries that are mentioned in the book. So I did research on all these clinics and decided on Vanity Hospital, Vanity Aesthetic. And it was quite a luxurious, surprisingly luxurious experience. You wouldn't equate normally luxurious with having surgery, but I can promise you that it was, Davis. I can
Wow.
promise you.
So it
Um,
was quite a
I
nice
had
experience.
I had 3 personal assistants. I had a Swiss trained surgeon, a hospital stay, and a 7 night, 5-star hotel stay in Istanbul, Turkey, with
Wow.
Vanity. The Vanity, that's the name of the book, is for that reason. Um, and it was unparalleled as an experience. And I've seen so many other people suffer when they're alone doing these type of things. And so I
Yeah.
decided to make everyone aware of this because I wish I had had a guide to look at before I made that decision. I don't want to say that I got lucky, but again, research is important, and I was a little bit lucky.
It sounds like you had really a hands-on experience. Nobody wants to be their own personal researcher, but sometimes you got to dig down deep and do the dirty work. And it seems
You
like you
do.
did it, but it came out beautiful. I'd say it's clean work. Exactly what work did you have done? What type of surgery?
I had a facelift and a neck, and then a little bit of a fat transfer here and there. So it's standard procedure, for most women my age. Everybody
Sure.
wants to do it, I think, or to look better, but a lot of people
Yeah.
don't like to talk about it. And I'm just not that person. I'm very open, and if I have something that I can share with the world, I feel it makes us feel more connected, and you feel less alone. And that's just who I am. So I decided to share this experience with the world. And I'm very grateful, and I'm very happy with my results. And yeah.
Well, you look beautiful. I couldn't even notice that anything happened, but I know there's a new you and you look great. And honestly, when
Thank
I
you.
heard 62, I'm saying to myself, there's no effing way.
This
I was going to
month,
say
63.
42 or maybe even 32. I'm not going to go as far as saying 22, but you look fantastic. And, it's very important that you've done what you've done, and you're being very vulnerable and writing about shared experiences and personal experiences within the cosmetic surgery vertical. Everybody's looking for a little bit of assistance, and it's tough to do it on their own. But you're not a surgeon. You're just a
Absolutely not.
you're
At the
not.
very beginning of the book, I make the point that I am not a medical expert, but I'm a
Sure.
great researcher and an informed consumer.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't suggest anything to anyone that I hadn't done myself. And so I think that as well as the unique part of the book really is the shared experience, because I interviewed thousands and thousands of people, both in person with the Vanity Clinic, but also from the 5 other hospitals in each of the 7 countries that I covered in the book. And I interviewed them either personally via Zoom or by survey. And the experiences were just incredible. I laughed, I cried at some of the sad stories, but with happy endings. And I was really happy to hear that. People have surgery for many different reasons, and it's not always about ego or vanity. In fact, this woman in India had acid poured in her face by a jealous lover, and surgery restored her dignity. That was a sad story for me to read, but I was so happy to hear that it had a happy ending.
Of
People
course.
getting hip replacements. It's not just, veneers because they have a terrible smile. It's not just cosmetic surgery. It's also medical tourism, which is covered in the book.
Everybody has a different reason for having it done.
Mhm.
Whether you want to improve your look or you have something that's been on your mind for quite some time, and there really is never a wrong time to get it done. It's all personal. But what I like about your book is it's not just about you. You mentioned it yourself. It's about everybody. Everybody has a different
Oh, sure.
experience. And I
Yes.
think the cross analysis and your surveying of everybody and these little mini interviews that you go on about, I love that.
Yeah,
I
I
like
think
hearing
that's the
about
unique part of the book. I really do, because
it
people like
really
to read
is.
other people's experience. It's not just my own experience.
And it was great doing it on site at this hospital. I mean, that's pretty cool. A lot of courage to
Mhm.
go up to people. You're a very open, sociable person. You're very sweet and kind, and a lot of people enjoy your company. I can
Well,
only
wait, let
imagine
me
how you
let me
made them feel
interject
there.
here, David, because really the most unique part of the experience is that this hotel specializes in patients that are coming from their clinic at Vanity Aesthetic. And so
Yeah,
down in the breakfast room, which was an amazing buffet, everybody's got some sort of bandage on their nose, the
yeah.
facelift thing.
Were you
Uh,
able to
they
eat,
do
or
hair
what?
transplants, which are fantastic.
Oh my
So it was
God,
men
everybody's
and
getting them.
women, and
Yeah,
veneers and anything you can imagine. But everybody had something done. So it made it easy we were like a family. It made it easy for
yeah.
me to walk around and interview these people because they were so open, and we were just so happy to have someone else to talk to and to share the recovery experience with. I think that was a really unique part of my experience.
You were all in it together, which is
Yeah,
beautiful. You really were. And full
yeah,
disclaimer,
yeah.
this is all my real hair, no hair transplants whatsoever.
None
This
for
is
you,
fully
Davis.
natural. But I'm not against anybody wanting to improve their look. If you need a transplant or even tattooing, people do it. Whatever your heart desires, make it happen, which is what I like about this book also. Um, I'm sitting here thinking this couldn't have been all sunshine and roses, being out there and making yourself vulnerable in a different country or countries. You're a world traveler. What was the hardest part about writing this book specifically? Because it's very different than your first book that you wrote. This is a stark contrast. What was difficult about this one?
I think sometimes it was about hearing the stories. I take people's pain, and I take that personally sometimes, and but the beauty of it was that there was usually a happy ending. You can't expect cosmetic surgery or changing yourself for the better to solve all your problems. That's not going to happen. But if it makes you feel better about yourself, then why not? And I guess the hard part also was researching. This was hours and hours and hours of research and
Yeah.
fact checking, and all the interviews and things like that. It was quite a time consuming project. But since I'm sailing on my catamaran,
You got all the time in the world.
yeah, I've always wanted to write books, and I'm a journalist by education.
Yeah.
So this sailing gave me time to write these books and sharing my own personal experience in Istanbul, Turkey, discovering a completely new culture. Everyone spoke English. Everyone's afraid to go somewhere else because they won't. But I can tell you, my 3 personal assistants at Vanity, a Swiss trained surgeon. I mean, come on. There's nothing to fear. And I think that's really the other message of the book. There are 7 countries that specialize in medical tourism. Don't be afraid, especially when you're going to save 70 to 90% of what you might pay in the US or in Europe. These countries specialize in this. They're good at it, and they have well-trained surgeons. And I'm just saying, there's no reason to be afraid, especially if you go with the clinics that I've listed in this book.
The cost comparison, it's night and day. And when you
Especially with
mentioned
a seven
luxury,
7-night
70
vacation
to
for a minute.
90% difference. That's a lot of euros, pesos, dollar bills. That's a lot of savings there. So I could see why somebody would want to do that. And it sounds like that's one of the best parts of traveling to Europe and being there, but the comfort that you had. I'm reading your book, and I also wanted to mention this is your second book. I thought you've been writing for years and years. That's how good it was. No joke, no BS. I'm really enjoying the fact that I'm breezing through it. And it's very personable. You're talking about yourself, your story, your upbringing, why you got to Turkey, what made you choose that location. So, anybody that's curious, what is this process going to look like for me? You're outlining it fully. I mean, you'll be saving and you
Yeah.
will be saving so many people a lot of time and
And
really
money.
and money and you're alleviating their stress that they might have. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. So tell me, if you could put down a couple of things. What were the best parts of writing this book? This is your second book, very different from your first.
Mhm.
Well, what were you enjoying as you're jotting down notes and you're taking in a lot of surveys from people? What were the best parts?
I think it was connecting with people, like-minded people. We all are in this to make ourselves better. And so, the different stories I
Mm.
heard were the most amazing part of for me, and I hope it will be for the readers as well, because somewhere in there, somewhere in those pages, you will find yourself. I really believe so. I had people from all walks of life, all nationalities, who I was speaking to. And this really, it's the whole world. The experience of others, I think, was the most important part of the book and the most valuable experience for me.
There's a lot of unity within this book. And you mentioned something great, finding a connection to your writing, even if you're not interested in cosmetic surgery or have never thought about having it done, to hear your story interwoven with this big jump that you took in your life. I love the fact that you talk about your mom, your connectivity with her. She's no longer around, but from what
Mhm.
I've read, an unbelievable woman. I share a lot of connection with that because I have a great relationship with my father, and there's the connectivity that way. Did she inspire you in any
Oh,
way to get this
absolutely.
done?
My
Yeah.
mother was a force of nature, and she had a weight problem a lot of her life, which I didn't share with her. But she had some different surgery procedures, and so I was able to see a little bit of it, not be so afraid of it. Again, she was always just trying to better herself, and but she was an inspiration in so many ways. She came from rural Alabama and took herself from a little Alabama girl who was too young to get into business school and had to lie her way in, um, to being a top real estate agent in number two in the state of Virginia, in fact. So
It's
she
amazing.
was driven and she loved everything you can love about life and she wanted to enjoy it to the fullest. And she did all the way to the end. She was a magnificent, beautiful, inspiring woman.
I'm glad you had her as an inspiration. Do you think she would have liked the vanity aesthetic location you
Yes,
went
I
to? How
think
how do you
so.
think
I
it would
think
have
she
went
would have
down
been
for her?
proud of me. I think she would have been
Yeah.
proud of me. She might have been like one of those people, oh, Sherri, we don't talk about it. But she knows I've never been like that. So she
Yeah.
would appreciate it. Absolutely.
That's sweet
Yes.
as could be. No, I like your overall story. I'm glad to be following it, and I can't wait for so much more. Tell me about your publishing experience. This is relatively new to you, but how's it been with this book and getting it out there?
Yeah, today when I do a book signing at Barnes& and Noble in Boca, tomorrow actually, we're going to talk a little bit about the publishing experience. I can't say enough about my publisher, booklocker.com. They put me out on 40 different platforms. I can't say enough about Angela and Brian Hoy, who run Booklocker, from the cover design down to the editing to getting me out there, the promotion. They're very much the reason I'm here. My first book I published with KDP, which is Kindle Direct Publishing with Amazon, and it's great. I mean, I did really well with that book, but that was all me.
Hmm.
And just, you publish it yourself and that's it. You're on one platform. With BookLocker, they really are a publisher. And so they are there to support you in every way and put you out. I mean, I'm on Walmart, Target. It's, it's a
Those are
whole different experience.
big platforms.
Well,
Big
Amazon,
platforms.
obviously, and Barnes and Noble and Ingram and all those different platforms are very important when you're selling a book. Now more and more we're in a world of everything, self publishing,
Yeah.
and so there are many ways to do it. But I can't say enough. A big shout out goes to booklocker.com. They were great.
What would you recommend for somebody just starting out in writing? You're very, I wouldn't say very new to this because you've been an educator for so long. You've had
Well,
these
I work for
thoughts
a
stored up in your
magazine
mind.
too. Yeah,
Sure. So what would you recommend somebody starting out? How do you go about it? I mean, you made it happen. I'm very proud of
yeah.
you.
Write every day and find your inspiration somewhere. I find that with my first book, um, it was a story that happened that was a true story, and it inspired me to write a fictional account. And it was fascinating. I couldn't sleep at night. But that's how
Yeah.
many writers are. If you've got it in
Sure.
your soul, you can't sleep at night. You're just thinking about the next page and this and that. This one, Vanity Factor, was so that I could really share with other people the experience and take away the fear factor. Um,
Mm,
so I think that if just starting out, don't be afraid. Just do it. Like Nike says, just do it.
just do it.
Because, right. I mean, I think everyone should write a book. And it's so simple these days. And even if it just sells to your family and friends, great. At least you've done that. And it's your legacy.
Yeah, there's nothing to fear but fear itself in so many different
That's true.
respects. So do you
Absolutely.
journal every day? Do you keep, do you keep a diary at home? Do you write down certain
Um,
notes or,
I
you know,
I have been sailing in the Med for the last 2 years, and I keep a journal of things that happen, which is it's quite an adventurous life.
yeah,
But
I can imagine.
not particularly about anything to do with this book or not journaling this way. No, I just sat down, and when I start writing, it's just like a flow. I'm sure Davis, with what you do, you feel that sometimes you just have that flow. You're editing something,
Absolutely.
you just can't stop, and it's just you should be passionate about what you do.
1000%. When you're in it and you're going with the flow, nothing could stop you. And I can imagine being a
Absolutely.
writer. You probably had a blast writing this one. I'm having a
I did.
blast reading it, and I can't wait for so much more from you, Sherri. It's been really a pleasure and an honor to have you on my show. I can't wait for your book signing. I might even be there. When is it? August 16th?
Tomorrow
Barnes and Noble,
from
right?
1 to
Tell
3, Barnes&
everybody.
and Noble Boca.
Barnes and Noble in Boca. I'm looking forward to it. Glades Road location from 1 to 3 o'clock. Have a
Mhm.
blast.
I will.
Enjoy
And
life.
gift bags, giving out gift bags. Come one,
There's
come
gift
all.
bags being given out. Can't wait. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
you
grab
got to
a
come for
couple
the
of
gift
those.
bag.
You have to. Any freebie, I'm in. So if there's free attached to it, you bet your butt I'm going to be there. Anyway, Sherri, quite a pleasure. Looking forward to hopefully having you back on the show in due time. Keep writing
Next
because you're
book.
onto something very, very special.
Thank you for having me, Davis. I appreciate it.
Oh, quite an honor. Have a great one, Sherri, and much love to you and your family. Bye
Ciao.
bye.